Today we are playing the second episode of MILLENNIUM, Superhero of Tomorrow, and I can't wait to get started right after the intro. Hi folks, and welcome to Sharp Mountain Games. Here we talk about group role-playing games, solo role-playing games, and there are plenty of actual plays in the playlist. You can check out our print and PDF products at Amazon, Lulu, Drive-Thru, and Roll20, and they're all linked below. Let's get started, and we're glad you're here. Thanks for being here. And today's game is going to be using Streamlined Superheroes, which is my own system. And you can get it really inexpensive, really cheap on drivethrurpg. I have the link below. But like I always say, I don't want to turn this into a commercial, but I do want to thank everybody who has purchased the product or taken a look at it. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate people who watch this video. It's nice to have an audience, and I really appreciate your time. So let's get started. Like I said, I don't want to commercialize the whole thing. So we have our hero, MILLENNIUM, Superhero of Tomorrow. His real name is Mark Nova, and he's a star pilot. And he doesn't know how, but he's been granted these MILLENNIUM gauntlets or bracers that give him superpowers. We'll talk about what they are as we go on. And he has a fairly new companion who is Higgs, who is a unicellular blob kind of fellow. But he's also a Sciento engineer, so he's pretty sharp and pretty helpful. And last time we finished off, they rounded up some alien criminals. So these are gray aliens, the traditional gray aliens. And they were buying up and sending this very high-tech equipment, and they think that it's somehow involved with the star criminal, the genius evil engineer, Kango Domitar. So they're going to try and get that information. Now, they were helped at the last minute by another superhero, a female superhero, New Dawn. And I don't have a token or a card for her yet. I actually was working on a drawing today, but I didn't quite get it finished, and I really did want to tape this. So we'll try and get that together for the next time we see these heroes, which I hope is real soon. So, without further ado, they've decided to work together, and they are taking these criminals back to Commissioner Robotor, who is kind of like the Commissioner Gordon of this whole deal here. And they take them back, and as they're taking them back, Mark takes a look at New Dawn, who's a female superhero, and he thinks, boy, something about her reminds him of Starless Saturn, who is a reporter that he's friendly with as in his superhero guys. But he thinks to himself, nah, it couldn't be her. That'd be crazy. So, who would disguise themselves and be a superhero? So they take these guys back, and they're brought before Commissioner Robotor, and they're going to be present for the questioning. So now it's not any kind of under major coercion, and these guys don't speak English. They have their own alien language, or at least they pretend not to. And the police commissioner, now he's able to translate. He's robotic. He can do that. So let's see how they do with the questioning. So MILLENNIUM says, are you working for Kango Domitar? And where is he? So I'm going to give him a charisma roll. His charisma is a +1. So it's a D20 +1, just like you'd think. Now, let's see if he has anything that he might bring into play here. Not really. So that would be a D4, which is the effect die. However, I'm going to give him a D6 because these guys were captured, and they should have some fear of him. 16 and now a 2. So 2's okay on the effect die. A 6 and up on any effect die is better because that gives you something special. So they say, they admit under the questioning, yes, they're working for Kango Domitar. And Higgs steps in, well, what do they want? What does he want with all that equipment? I know a bit about that equipment. So he's going to try and get some information. I'm going to let him roll his engineering effect die on that. They're shaking in their boots to see if he knows anything about the equipment. And maybe he took a look at it before he left, too. We could say that, too. Now, that was last week. I didn't want to, I wanted to move things along for you. So 14, that's really good. Let's see what his effect die is. A 7. Now, it moved the dice, but it was a 14 before. So 7 is greater than 6. So he gets the information. This is the kind of equipment that could be used to drain solar energy. And then we'll have New Dawn step in. Now, she's a reporter. She's a crime reporter, so she may know how to talk to criminals and get some, well, if you tell us what his plan is, maybe we can get the police to go easy on you. And this is a dice tower here. I'll just show you, but you can see I have my my little logo there. It's just a piece of paper there just to show you the logo. But keep it up here so it's kind of out of the way. So let's see, a 5 and an 8. So the 5 is no good. So even with her charisma +2, she's not able to get the information. And Commissioner Robotor says, something to the effect, well, we'll make them talk, but it may take a while. He said, with something with the sun, maybe you had better head out on your ship, and you should see, if you can detect anything. So we'll do that next. And I'm not rolling so much for random encounters and things because this isn't it's not like they're doing a stakeout in the city or something. So let me just move some of my little people out of the way here. I love these little meeples. They're so cute. I don't know if anybody ever noticed, but they're the same height as a dice. They're both like 16 millimeter for a standard die that you're used to. But that's neither here nor there. So New Dawn says, well, am I coming along too? And Mark, as Millennium, kind of hesitates a little bit. He says, well, you were so helpful against that robot. I guess you can. And Higgs, he says, the more the merrier. So we're going to take them. This is Millennium's spacecraft, the Space Bat that he has named in honor of, his favorite superhero growing up, a legendary superhero from way, way back. And they are flying out into space. And Mark, he suspects, he says, well, we probably need to head sunward anyway if he's trying to drain the energy of the sun. And he asks Higgs, he says to Higgs, can you, do a roll and see what you can figure out to see if you can detect where he might be. So I'd say that's an engineering roll, engineering science. His engineering is a D8. 17 and a 6 means that he gets something extra special. So Higgs does, yes. He detects and he says, I know exactly where he is. He says, I'm getting a manufactured signal, and it's definitely orbiting the sun, and that would have to be him. He said, it's different than normal things that we usually get. We do know there's some satellites orbiting the sun. He said, even I know that. So he said, so that's definitely where it would be. So Mark says, great. Now, as they approach where the space station is, and I'll just use this little dice container that I have here to represent the space station. Millennium says, well, I'm going to try and come in really, really carefully. He said, but, they may have some defenses. Who knows? So he is going to ask, he says, well, which of the two of you could, man the guns here of the Star Bat? That might help. So I think New Dawn is going to take that role. She says, well, I'll take that because she has a light blast. So we'll say that her light blast will be the effect die that she's able to use. And Higgs is going to kind of act as a co-pilot here. He doesn't have any, well, maybe not a co-pilot. He has to sort of be the science officer. He doesn't have any piloting skills or ability here. So they are going to approach the station here. And so I'm going to say that's going to take 5 pilot rolls here. And we'll see what happens. So as they approach, and I better make little boxes or I'll forget. Mark is going to make his, Mark Nova Millennium is going to make his pilot roll, and that's a D8. So in this system, a 10 or better is a success. You say, well, how do you make it harder? Well, it's at disadvantage. How do you make it easier? It's at advantage. Just keeps things nice and streamlined of all things. So how does Mark do the first time? Yes, no problem. So he is able to get in here, and what happens is small little things come out. I'm not going to put a bunch of them. Small little things come out from the from the spaceship here, and they are zipping around and they are firing at them. So I'm going to say that since he got the success, our gunner, New Dawn, is going to get a shot there, and then she has a D8 for her light blast. So 16 is a success, and 5. So she is able to take care of, you know, one of these little, almost like little flying saucers. They zip around, but they're pretty small, so they're hard to hit. So they zip around, and they are firing at the ship. So now Millennium is going to do his pilot roll again. Let's see how he does. 14 and 3. So 14's good. 3's nothing special. So that means that he is able to avoid any damage. And 18. Oh, she hits for 6. She's on fire here. And he nods to her. You know, he doesn't want to take his attention too far off the piloting here. So we're in our 3rd round as they're zipping in and trying to get past the defenses here. 11 and 5, so that's pretty good. Not special. Oh, she misses that round. Now he was able to, like, I'm going to say the pilot roll was him trying to avoid getting shot. My friend Solo Spelunking said, and he's right, one of the things is I don't have vehicle rules in this superhero system, so I kind of put something together just real quick for this. I think I'm just going to roll all 4 here at once. Yes, so he is able to avoid zipping around, and he gets the 8, which means something special. Maybe I would give her advantage on the shot, but she made the shot anyway. She doesn't need the advantage, so she's zaps a few more of them out. Okay, I think this is our 5th round here. 7, and his dexterity is +3. Good, so that's a 10, and he got a 6. She already hit. She hit 6, so she blows up the last one of these. That was almost too easy, but I guess you'll have this. So they were working together, and he says, boy, the 3 of us do make a good team. And Higgs says, yeah, maybe we should keep her around. And New Dawn, she kind of looks funny at Higgs. And Millennium says, well, he doesn't always know how to say things. You know, he's new to Earth, so don't take any offense at that. So they know they're there. And we're going to have to see whether they're going to airlock or be able to open the bay to get into the space station here. So I think he's going to ask Higgs to use his engineering. He's going to say, can you do anything here and send out a beam? He says, I'm going to try and use my piloting, you know, to like make the right approach. Let's see. We're going to use this as an assist. No, he didn't get the assist. So now when you don't get the assist, that means... But he did take the time to do that. That still gives Higgs advantage, but not on the effect die. Excuse me. And we have advantage. Oh, we didn't even need it. So a 4. So they are able to dock, but maybe not all that quietly or anything like that. And Millennium says, they know we're here. We have to get to the main chamber. So they pull into some kind of docking bay. Let's move the docking bay back. Millennium's a bit impulsive. He starts to rush ahead. And New Dawn says, wait, it could be trapped, maybe. So he gets in there, and what happens is there are lasers. The hallway is trapped. So let's see. What I have here is it's going to take him 3 dexterities to get by. But if he gets a 6 or better on his effect die. Now, he is flying. Those bracers or gauntlets of his let him fly. So he is like flying up the hallway here. So it's going to be his dexterity. And his Millennium Ray is his flight is a D10. Got to make sure to get the right dice here. 20 and a 5. So the 20 just means he's a success. So the 5 means he is able to get through. So he is zipping around. He said, well, I'm halfway. I may as well try to get to the other side. So let's try his next thing. Yes, he dodges again. And again, does he make it? Yeah, he makes it. No, I never got above a 6. I wanted him to get above a 6. That would have been good. So he is on the other side, and he says, well, let me see if I can deactivate it. And Higgs says, oh, it's too bad I couldn't get over there. So now the problem is MILLENNIUM doesn't have anything in terms special in terms of science. It doesn't mean that he's stupid, so or think that's not what those numbers mean. But what it does mean is that he doesn't have any specialty in that area. So he's going to get to roll his intelligence. Oh, and he has no bonus on the intelligence and only a D4 here. So is he able to figure anything out? He finds the controls. He is a pilot, so maybe he's used to looking for controls, and this is the future. So people are used to this sort of thing. But only a 2 there. He says, no, I can't deactivate it. And Higgs says, oh, well, I'm going to try to stretch through. So he is going to, move his limbs and try and, extend them as much as he can. So I'm going to say that's his extra stretching limb, which he has a D10 on. So again, he's going to have to make 3 rolls here. But if he gets a 6 or better, it counts as 2. So first one, he gets through and is not hit by the laser. I'm rolling really well here. You know what that means is going to happen later. The law of averages is going to catch up with me. Second roll makes it. Oh, and that's a 9. So that's a really good success. So I'm going to say that stretches him over. And he's going to use his engineering, his Sciento engineering here to see what he can do. 7, his intelligence is 3. That gets him up to a 10. 6 or better. Yeah, he deactivated. So he says, New Dawn, it's safe for you to fly through here. So she's forgotten about the comment about, oh, keep her around. And she does not have any flight powers. So she can come through here. We haven't seen all of her powers yet, but I think we're going to see one. We've seen her do the light blasts. And she has photonic protection, so she kind of glows a little bit. If you remember Firestar from the old Spider-Man series. So they are going to move through here, and they're going to be approaching what they think is the center of the station, what they think is going to be, the main area here where perhaps things are going on. And she says, let me sneak ahead. She said, you didn't see this before, but I can turn, I can bend the light rays around me as though I'm invisible. So a little bit like the Invisible Girl, or Invisible Woman, I guess, in the Fantastic Four. I'm not sure which it is these days in the comic books. Of course, there's a new movie coming out. But let's have her use her incorporeal form to sneak up, and that's a D10. So let's see if she can get some information about what's going on here and report it back to everybody else. 3 and 5. No. So it's not that she's not able to turn incorporeal, but, it's a strange area. She makes some noise. And she hears inside there, she hears this, they've made it onto the station. I may be too late. And he switches something on. So here's going to be his device. Here is Kango Domitar. You can see he has his ray. And things aren't really to scale here. He should be much smaller. And he says, you, my robot, get him. And then there is one technician, one little gray alien technician. Now, this robot, you're going to see I have him as yellow. So he has absorbed some of the power from the sun. So he is glowing as well, and he's kind of super hot here. And let me make just some notes here to So we know who the what the hit points are, or at least so that I know what the hit points are. They can also be considered hurdle points. And then we got to make a note for Millennium, New Dawn, and Higgs, which is spelled with a Y, by the way. But he's very pleased that it's the same as the Higgs boson. He thinks they named it after him. So she is kind of caught flat-footed here, and I think that's going to give him a shot at her. So we're going to use the I go, you go setup. So she decides, she says, I think that machine is the most dangerous. So she is going to try a shot at that machine to try and shut it off, because he's obviously draining solar power with it. And let's see, what's that? That would be her light blast, which is a D8. Let's see how she does. 8, and her dexterity is 3 for 5. So she does do some damage on it. It starts to spark a bit. And of course that frustrates him, so he is going to take a shot back at her with his ray gun there. What's his ray gun? Oh, it's D10. That's pretty rough, and he gets a +3 to that. So he's not only an interstellar genius, he's a pretty good shot. 13, yeah, that hits for 9. So he does some real damage here to New Dawn. He wings her, and oh, she says, and she now, I guess, turns visible again. She says, but I definitely think it's that machine that's important. So we'll have Millennium fly in. He is very upset about this. He's not sure who to go after. I think he's going to say, let's take the robot. He said, Higgs, you get to the machine. So he is going to take on that robot. And he's going to take it on with his Millennium rays, which is a D12. And let me see what the robot does. The robot can do a D8. We'll just roll them both at once. So Millennium hits the robot, but only for 2. And this thing is glowing and it's very warm, and it hits Millennium for 4. Okay, so back to Higgs here. Higgs is going to stretch in and go after the machine. So going after the machine, that's his science, which is a D8. He says, I'm going to try and shut it down. You guys run cover for me. 17 and 6. Yes, that's pretty good. And I think the little alien is going to try a shot at him. Nope, misses Higgs, so thankfully. Okay, so I think we're back up to New Dawn here. And she's hoping her photonic protection is enough as she comes in and again tries her light blast at Kango Domitar here. But he is going to try and hit her again as well. I like to roll them both at once. So let's see. Yeah, New Dawn hits him for 8. Ah! He recoils back. So, yeah, she did a good damage on him. Nope, he missed her, so thankfully. And he says something, you'll never stop my evil schemes. And they always have to say things like that. He's just a little alien guy. I don't know where I got him, but there he is. So Millennium is trying to distract the robot and the little alien there. I think this time he's going to go after the little alien. He's thinking, well, maybe if I take him out, at least that would be something. So he's flying and he's shooting with his Millennium bracers. And I think the robot's going to take a whack at him. Let's see what happens there. 6, so Millennium misses, but so does the robot, thankfully. And Higgs is again trying with his science to see what he can do to shut down this machine, but he's going to be faced with the possibility of a zap from the little alien. So, Higgs is struggling here. He's the yellow. And the little alien hits Higgs for 6, excuse me. 6 points of damage there. All right, top of the round again. She is flying over here, trying to take out our Kango Domitar. So I guess she's going to be the yellow dice here. He'll be the blue. Oh, yellow dice misses, but the blue hits. Luckily, it's only like a glancing blow. It doesn't do too much terrible damage to her, which is good. Okay, let's have MILLENNIUM. He is using his blast. He's the blue, and the robot is the yellow. Oh, he's missing terribly, and the robot hits him. But again, this robot is, maybe he's even overloading. He is stumbling around and glowing, and he only hits MILLENNIUM for 1 point. And Higgs says, boy, this device is harder than I thought here. So let's see how he does with his science. 12, okay, so that's good. 2, he's whittling it down. He says, oh, I'm struggling though. You know, it may, I hope it doesn't explode. And does he get shot at all by the little guy? Yes, he does. He said, take care of that little pest already. All right, so top of the round here. We're going to have our light blast. Yes, hits Kango Domitar. And we got to do his blast here with that. He's a pretty nasty space ray. Yes, 7. New Dawn's hurting. And let's see. Then we'll do the robot and MILLENNIUM. MILLENNIUM is going to, again, try. He's flying around here. 19 for 5 points of damage on the robot. All right, good. Does our robot hit? MILLENNIUM. No. Good. Let's see how Higgs is struggling to turn this machine off. He says, you may have to blow it up already. Does the little guy hit him? No. So let's see what we can do. New Dawn is still going after Kango Domitar. So let's see what's her light blast is the D8. And I'll roll his. 19. Okay, for 4. Oh, that's good. So he hits her. Excuse me. She only got a 2. Now, MILLENNIUM sees this, so he decides he is going to fly over here. He says, wait, I'll have to give you a hand here. Maybe if we take him out, that'll buy us some time. So he is going to try a shot at Kango Domitar. Kango Domitar is going to holler. He says, get him away from that machine. So let's see. Let's have our MILLENNIUM use his MILLENNIUM bands there. 6. Nope, not good enough. Does the little guy hit him? That's got to go through there. Yeah, the little guy hits him for 2. He says, don't worry about me. I'm okay so far. Higgs, see what you can do. So Higgs is still trying to shut this down as the menacing robot comes after him. $15 and 5, so that's good. So he is whittling down that. He says, I think I have it. I think I almost have it here. But he might take a hit from the robot. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, he takes a whack from the robot. All right, so top of the round, they are both going after Kango Domitar. So let's have, we'll do our rolls here for everybody first. So New Dawn is still using her light blast. How does she do? 4, but he hits her for 3. So she is down. And, of course, MILLENNIUM is very upset by this because this is his new friend, and he's concerned by all this. So he is going to let loose with everything he's got here with his Millennium Rays. And does he hit? Oh, look at that. That's a 12. Yeah. Now the other alien wings him a little bit, but he takes Kango Domitar down and hollers to the little guy, surrender and call your robot off. We've taken out your boss here. Okay, so the little guy got his shot. Higgs is really sweating here. He says, there's that big robot. In fact, he is going to try to turn the robot off. And I'm going to say if he gets a 6 or better, that exceptional success, he is able to do that. So even though he knows this is a very dangerous device, he feels like he's got to get that robot off his back. 17 and an 8. Yeah, good. So he takes care of that robot. And the little guy is sweating. The little guy is really sweating. He is not sure what to do. I'm going to say he makes a run for it. Maybe he's looking for an escape pod or something like that. And Millennium says, I'm going to let him go. This device is more important. And Higgs says, yeah, we've got to shut this down. So he says, let me see if I can assist you. So I'm going to say he's going to use his pilot. So he is a pilot. Maybe he would know something about electronics. So he's going to try to make the assist. I am going to say he's going to make it a disadvantage, though, because he's not an engineer. So Millennium's trying to help him. Look at that, 14 and 14. He does help him. It's not exceptional, but he does help him. So that means we're going to get advantage on the roll and advantage on the effect die. So Higgs is trying to shut this down. Let's see how he does. Yeah, he did need the advantage. It's a good thing he got the advantage. And 7. So this thing is beep, beep, beeping. Shh. And he's able to shut it down. So Millennium rushes over and, tries to revive New Dawn. He's tempted. She has a mask, kind of like the domino mask that Robin wears. He's tempted to see who she really is, but he knows the superhero code. You don't do that. So he says, and they do hear some kind of escape pod or some escape vessel, release itself. So this guy probably got away, but they have a feeling he wasn't, the ringleader of the thing here. So they were successful. It was a rough battle. One of them fell. Now, this isn't like a fantasy system where, okay, if you're dying of a sword wound and you're dead. It's more superhero logic where you get knocked out of the battle and you come back later. So they tie up Kango Domitar. They deactivate. Higgs makes a point of deactivating this robot. So this robot is not going to be causing any trouble again. And they head back in the Starbat, move some things out of the way here, and they head back to Earth with their prisoner, who of course they're going to remand into the custody of the police commissioner Robotor. And of course on the way back, they're thinking, and Millennium's wondering, boy, I've always worked as an individual before, but up until now, but it seems like now I've got at least a partner in Higgs. And he says, I wonder if New Dawn would want to accompany us on some of these missions, or if she's going to kind of just join us from time to time. I'm not sure. So he's flying towards home. Higgs says, I did pretty well, right? I'm going to be able to stay on the team. And Millennium says, oh, yes, of course. He says, I think I really could use your science engineering. That really fills things in. And he said, and, New Dawn, she's a little groggy, so she's resting. So he's kind of talking to Higgs maybe a little bit in private. And he says, maybe she'd be good, too. She seems to know quite a bit about crime and the movement of criminals. That could really help. So who knows? Maybe in the next episode, we'll have a 3-person team. We'll see. But I think that's all I've got for today. Again, Streamlined Superheroes is on drive-thru. If you're interested in it, I have the link below. Thanks to everybody for watching and who's been supporting me in any way. Just thank you so much, and we will see you next time, real soon.